Göbekli Tepe, the lost origin of civilization. Don't forget to subscribe to Vexopia History. Introduction. In Bursa, a farmer discovered an ancient temple in his field. Thousands of years older than the Egyptian pyramids, much further back in history than Hagia Sophia, this structure belongs to the Neolithic age. The strange and unsettling depictions on it point to the existence of a belief never seen before. This discovery turned all theories upside down. Why did Stone Age people build such a mega temple? How did this mysterious structure change what we know about the history of civilization? The theory of civilization's beginning. It was believed that everything started 12,000 years ago when a handful of wheat was planted into the heart of the earth. Humans abandoned their nomadic hunter-gatherer lifestyle and transitioned to a settled agricultural society. They began to save time from finding food. This created opportunities to think and produce. Soon, there was a relative leap in technical knowledge and aesthetic thinking. The journey of civilization from flint-tipped spears to space rockets, from polished stone craftsmen to missions collecting rocks on Mars, began with agriculture. At least, that's what the theory said. However, the discovery of Göbekli Tepe, whose roots predate the agricultural revolution and settled life, changed everything. Professor Hikmet Kürük's research. Professor Hikmet Kürük has been researching social history for 30 years. He wants to learn the true story of the greatest turning point in human history. The assumption that agriculture and settled life formed the origin of civilization began to be questioned with one discovery. Could a structure older than everything we know really rewrite the story of a civilization from scratch? The answer lies hidden in Şanlıurfa. Şanlıurfa, City of Prophets. Şanlıurfa province in Turkey is known as the City of Prophets, the sacred lands where Prophet Abraham was thrown into fire. Urfa is located in the north of the Mesopotamian basin, known as the Fertile Crescent, between the Euphrates and Tigris rivers. These ancient lands have sustained human history. The roots of the beliefs of 1 in every 2 people living in the world extend here. But there's much more in these lands than assumed. The mysterious traces of civilization's unknown origin. Welcome to Göbekli Tepe. Göbekli Tepe is the zero point of history. This stunning structure is filled with T-shaped pillars, sculptures ready to attack, and rooms without doors. All carved from limestone exactly 12,000 years ago and standing as they were on the first day. In the area where the first excavations began in 1995, there are dozens of standing stones in the temple structures uncovered so far. 16 more temple structures have been identified from photographs. These will be unearthed in excavations to be carried out in the coming years. Göbekli Tepe covers a total area the size of 20 football fields. The center of the structures consists of 4 large rooms. The oldest and largest is 24 meters in diameter. In the center and on the walls of all rooms are T-shaped pillars. Some of these pillars are 4 to 6 meters high. There are more than 200 T-shaped pillars at Göbekli Tepe. All of them were made by nomadic hunter-gatherers. Hunter-gatherers and Göbekli Tepe. Hunter-gathering is humanity's oldest way of life. It was the basic subsistence method for more than 100,000 years. Until 10,000 years ago, hunter-gatherers lived in small nomadic groups, surviving by gathering fruit and hunting. Since they had no settled order, they built simple and temporary houses with wood and branches. They didn't build massive temples from limestone. The 18,000-year-old fox bone and more than 100,000 bones belonging to wild animals excavated from Göbekli Tepe show that those who built it didn't settle there. They didn't abandon nomadic life, but still built a massive temple. Göbekli Tepe was built without the tools and equipment that emerged with the transition to settled life. In an age when writing, the wheel, and even pottery didn't exist yet, so how could a temple be built using only sharp stones? Stone craftsmanship. Expert Sharok Hassan Emri knows how skilled primitive people were at using stones. Stone is an important value in human life. Its use began in the Neolithic period. This period is the peak of stone craftsmanship. There are two important stones. Flint, like the steel of that era. Obsidian was used as a cutting tool. When properly sharpened, obsidian is 7 times sharper than a scalpel. It's used in surgeries today. When these stones are worked with strength and patience, they are much more functional than expected. Those who built Göbekli Tepe knew how to use these stones very well. The Neolithic period is the polished Stone Age, the age when stone was worked with stone. For a master, shaping limestone with flint is child's play, but building a massive temple required a lot of time and labor. Engineering marvel. An engineering expert made calculations. One of Göbekli Tepe's largest pillars weighs 24 tons. To drag it somewhere requires 240,000 newtons of force. A human can pull about 600 newtons. This means 9 people are needed. The sloping terrain and the distance of 1 to 3 kilometers away makes the job more difficult. Simple technologies like levers might have made the work easier, but it still required tremendous effort. Did communities unite? In the age when Göbekli Tepe was built, people lived in small groups of 40. There was no advanced division of labor. The only task of all clan members was to hunt and gather food. Excavation coordinator Lee Clare thinks, "I can say the structures were built according to a concept. Parts of the structures were built at a certain time in history. We don't know how long this took. However, it's likely the structures were built by a smaller group than estimated over a longer period, or smaller groups may have come together. Whatever their numbers, the nomadic hunters who built Göbekli Tepe undertook great cost. People specialized in their own fields and possessing necessary technical knowledge perhaps came together for the first time in history. So why would nomadic Stone Age people come together for a temple project? That's exactly what makes Göbekli Tepe special. Perhaps the real mystery starts here. Not how Göbekli Tepe was built, but why. Mysterious architecture. When German archaeologist Klaus Schmidt brought the world's oldest temple to light in Urfa in 1995, a series of questions arose. What was Göbekli Tepe telling with its unsettling depictions and strange details? Professor Hikmet Kürük is researching the truths behind the mystery. He thinks the answer lies in the temple's strange architecture. Göbekli Tepe has an extraordinary feature, especially Structure C has a magnificent entrance. Just like in Topkapi Palace, as if saying, "I am a lion." We know that in Neolithic architecture, doors weren't made and buildings were entered from the roof. Yet this room has a distinct entrance, but inside there's a room without a door. This is a feature we don't encounter in Neolithic architecture. The Holy of Holies. So why did hunter-gatherers make an inaccessible room in the center of their temple? According to legend, in Solomon's temple in Jerusalem, there was a mysterious room where the Ark of the Covenant was kept. Sanctum Sanctorum, the Holy of Holies. No one permitted could enter. Perhaps Structure C was Göbekli Tepe's Holy of Holies. Maybe they kept something equivalent to the Ark of the Covenant here. Maybe this was a gateway to the afterlife for the dead, a dead end for the worldly, but they symbolized it. Structures evolved over time. There's another explanation for Structure C's extraordinary architecture. Structure C, one of Göbekli Tepe's largest structures, has 3 main parts. Each part gets progressively smaller. The construction of these structures took quite a long time. What we see today is only the final result. Each layer was built hundreds of years after the other. Each new layer is smaller than the other. But those who built Göbekli Tepe always made their temples in the same area and persistently erected T-shaped pillars in the center of each room they made. Right next to Göbekli Tepe, about a kilometer away, there are quarries. People quarried stones from the quarries using cracked stones, using no other tools, processing stone with stone. They transported them to the area with levers and assembled them. A great engineering marvel. Sculpture, painting. These represented society's sacred beings at that time. The mysterious T-shaped pillars. At Göbekli Tepe, there's an unprecedented, completely abstract, mysterious sculpture type. T-shaped pillars. These pillars are 12,000 years old. Eyes made of obsidian, nostrils carefully crafted, hands joined in front. If they wanted, those who made Göbekli Tepe could have made sculptures in real human form. But they didn't. They deliberately processed the T-pillars abstractly, resembling humans but given no face. Perhaps these pillars didn't depict humans. Perhaps they symbolized much more exalted beings. Humans tried to depict their sacred beings to establish emotional connections with them. At first, they think of their gods anthropomorphically, in human form. The T-shaped pillars may be the symbol of an unprecedented abstract understanding of the sacred. And not just at Göbekli Tepe. They were discovered in other Neolithic sites in the region. T-shaped pillars are also found in newly discovered Neolithic sites like Nevali Chori and Karahan Tepe. Perhaps these pillars are the symbol of a new belief in Mesopotamia. And Göbekli Tepe was the center, the turning point of this belief. A Neolithic belief system. Professor Mehmet Özdoğan has been researching the prehistoric period for 50 years. We know many settlements contemporary with Göbekli Tepe, sharing the same socio-economic structure and the same life. Göbekli Tepe is in a forest, in a well-preserved place. Perhaps Göbekli Tepe was the Hagia Sophia of a Neolithic belief system. Perhaps Stone Age people symbolized their beliefs with T-shaped pillars. Göbekli Tepe's symbol is the T-shaped pillars. But the mystery isn't just the pillars, it's also what's on them. Animal figures. Dozens of different animal figures are carved on Göbekli Tepe's pillars. Snakes, foxes, vultures, reptiles. Each is a carving and drawing requiring extreme skill. And all these animals are in a threatening, ready-to-attack state. Michelangelo says there's a sculpture's potential in every stone. So why 12,000 years ago was this potential used only for wild animals? Perhaps these animals were Göbekli Tepe's guardians. With their threatening postures, they guarded the sacred T-pillars. Just as gargoyles are on cathedral roofs, perhaps these symbols had a protective meaning. Perhaps they represented humanity's new position in nature. Or perhaps they were just the totems, symbols of the clans who built Göbekli Tepe. But what's certain, those who made Göbekli Tepe cared about these animals. They used them as tools and signs, just like the mysterious symbols whose meanings can't be deciphered. These figures are archives of the distant past. If you look carefully, each tells a story. Can it be understood? The same is true for Göbekli Tepe, but the stories it tells are quite extraordinary. Just as church-stained glass is incomprehensible to a Stone Age man, Göbekli Tepe's symbols are equally mysterious to modern humans. Probably a hunter-gatherer who lived 12,000 years ago, looking at the carvings on these pillars, felt what modern humans feel in their own culture. These scenes told a story only to those who knew their meaning. So, what kind of stories? Important scenes for their beliefs, or more frightening truths? Headless body and vulture. In one scene, the following is seen: a human body with its head cut off. Right next to it, a vulture, and above it, a reptile, perhaps a scorpion. In the scene above it, a vulture with its wings spread, and between the wings, a human head rising toward the sky. A headless body. A head between the wings of a scavenger. No one knows the real story. Were sacrifices made at Göbekli Tepe? In ancient temples, altars were especially used for bloodshed. However, the floors of all rooms in Göbekli Tepe are made of terrazzo floor, waterproof. Perhaps Göbekli Tepe was used as an altar area. Hunter-gatherers made sacrifices to the gods among these pillars. Or, a more frightening possibility, Were humans sacrificed at Göbekli Tepe? This question puzzles minds. It's certain that some kind of rituals were performed at Göbekli Tepe. But were humans sacrificed here 12,000 years ago? Urfa is the land of Prophet Abraham. He struggled with Nimrod here, was thrown into fire here. Sacrifices were made to God here. But Islam stopped the knife in Abraham's hand. So could bloody human sacrifices have been made in the distant past of these lands, just like among the Aztecs? Processed skulls. Much more than legends is needed to answer this question. Perhaps the answer is in the skulls excavated from Göbekli Tepe. Skull fragments excavated from the digs were chosen as the most surprising discovery of 2017, because there are some decorations and some scratches on these skulls. Can anything be said about whether the people who owned the skulls might have been killed in the temple area at Göbekli Tepe? We can't say scientifically. Scientifically, we can say the skulls were processed post-mortem. We have no evidence they were sacrificed. There's no evidence of animal sacrifice either. All these holes and scratches on the skulls were made post-mortem. They were already dead. Probably they removed the skulls from graves. In some excavation sites, skeletons without heads are found. The real purpose of the terrazzo floor was to keep water away. To date, no traces of human sacrifice have been found in any known temple in Mesopotamia. The findings from Göbekli Tepe also don't indicate human sacrifice. Respect for ancestors. However, skulls had special meaning for the Göbekli Tepe people. The head is quite important. The main question, why do they do this? They thought the head was symbolically the center of knowledge and spirit. This also meant protecting their ancestors. Göbekli Tepe people tried to connect with their ancestors through their dead's skulls. This was at the center of their beliefs. That's why they took the skulls from the skeletons shortly after burying their dead. Those who built Göbekli Tepe shaped their dead's skulls, decorated them, and displayed them on the T-shaped pillars. They honored their ancestors. Perhaps they celebrated life's victory over death. Death and the sacred. Confronting the cold reality of death lies at the origin of all beliefs. People saw their deceased relatives in dreams and could talk to them. They began to think the deceased continued to live in another realm. They organized rituals and ceremonies to communicate with the afterlife while alive. Over time, temples were seen as a gateway between the two worlds. But all this had a deeper meaning for those who built Göbekli Tepe. They knew how to make pottery but made masks instead. They prioritized establishing relationships with the afterlife over storing their food. Masks and rituals. Masks served very important functions. In terms of religion, worship, hiding oneself, being seen as someone else. To speak comfortably, the person isn't speaking, the god wearing the mask is speaking. Masks have traditional meanings for people, but can we really understand a primitive ritual? Close your eyes. Put on a mask decorated with strange drawings on your head. Drums around you are playing the same rhythm. After a while, the fire before your eyes and the drum sound in your ears become synchronized. This also merges with your heartbeat. You combine everything you know and enter a kind of trance state. Now the things you imagined in your mind become real one by one. So 12,000 years ago, hunter-gatherers built a mega-temple from limestone. Don't forget to subscribe to Vexopia History. Traces in the sky. Professor Hikmet Kürük is closer to understanding Göbekli Tepe's importance in terms of civilization history. But to understand Göbekli Tepe's real story, he knows he must understand the story of the sacred. Classical theory said humanity first sought the sacred on Earth. People first believed in nature's sacredness. Then they looked up and began to search for their sacred beings among the stars. That's why ancient temples were often built according to the positions of stars. According to one theory, the T-shaped pillars at Göbekli Tepe were positioned according to Sirius, one of the brightest stars in the sky. The reason for the 3-degree angle difference of the pillars in each room was the displacement of the Sirius star in the sky. The Sirius star theory astronomer Adnan Utuken tested this theory. I set up the telescope. We can see the Sirius star. It doesn't rise much from the horizon, but it's very beautiful. A very bright star. Only planets can be brighter. It must have attracted the attention of prehistoric people very much. Professor Adnan Utuken rewound the positions of stars 12,000 years back with advanced simulation technology and recreated what hunter-gatherers saw in the sky. The result was surprising. Sirius moves about 4 degrees in the sky in 11,000 years. In that period, there's no opportunity to see Sirius above the horizon on any day of any month. Göbekli Tepe's architectural structure's location doesn't reference any known celestial body. If there's a mystery in its construction, it's not related to the sky. The sacred hill. Perhaps the answer isn't in the sky, but on Earth. Perhaps what was sacred was Göbekli Tepe's location. Everything didn't start with the discovery in the 1990s. Even before Göbekli Tepe's discovery, this region was believed to be sacred. Local people came here for votive offerings and wishes. One witness to this ancient tradition is Mahmut Yıldız, neighbor of the farmer who discovered Göbekli Tepe. When you look from kilometers away, it looks empty, like a symbol, like a sign. Sick people were brought here. Those who wanted healing came here. There's a different energy. There's more. One of the most interesting carvings at Göbekli Tepe was excavated from the foundation, a woman giving birth and her baby. Could there be a 12,000-year-old ancient tradition at the foundation of local people's belief in a hill where women came for votive offerings? Or did hunter-gatherers choose this hill because it was sacred? Geological reality. Geoscientist Hayrettin Kural thinks there's a more pragmatic reason for the site selection. This region is where limestone rocks are abundant, visible from the surface, and can be worked. It's a region where rocks containing flint are found just a few kilometers away. Göbekli Tepe's site selection demonstrates the intelligence of how people 12,000 years ago could benefit from geological materials. The facts are very different from legends. The Stone Age people who built Göbekli Tepe were very different from what's told. They didn't choose Göbekli Tepe's location by chance. They were master craftsmen and intelligent engineers. The beginning of a new lifestyle. At Göbekli Tepe, the door to a new lifestyle opened. The culture they produced here spread throughout Mesopotamia over time. It even reached Thrace. The Göbekli Tepe culture that developed in southeastern Anatolia formed a global model. It spread through many routes in different packages at different times. The lifestyle formed here went very quickly all the way to Britain. Here, Anatolia, is the core of civilization. Everything that came after started here. Structures not yet unearthed, but that's not all. There are 16 more rooms discovered in Göbekli Tepe's Göradar scans that haven't yet been brought to light. Some of these rooms' construction dates go back several thousand years before the temple's main structure, so the first construction of Göbekli Tepe may have started at the end of the Ice Age. After the last Ice Age, which lasted more than 18,000 years, humanity began to produce, think, and believe again. The starting point may be Göbekli Tepe, the seeds of the social and economic system that would continue until industrial society were planted there. Göbekli Tepe is a beginning for Urfa. We have many sites like Göbekli Tepe, more than 30 sites. When we hopefully uncover settlements equivalent to Göbekli Tepe, we'll both see their relationship with Göbekli Tepe and see the course of history after Göbekli Tepe. Abandonment. No mosque or church is ever destroyed by those who built it, because temples have no expiration date. 12,000 years ago, people thought very differently. For them, the sacred wasn't just a physical structure. It was something that completely changed their entire world of thought and lifestyle. That's why Göbekli Tepe wasn't just a temple. It was the center of their entire social life. For the same reason, the day their lifestyle changed, they abandoned it too. Currently, the walls, standing stones, stone pillars are standing here. At first glance, it looks like someone filled them, but there's something sacred here. For that sacredness to continue, something more difficult than building another temple, something requiring much effort, burying Göbeklitepe. Those who made Göbeklitepe undertook this trouble, just as they undertook when building it, just as humanity has undertaken for centuries in different geographies, in different ways, for a single purpose: present and future mysteries. 12,000 years have passed since Göbekli Tepe's construction. During this time, we invented electricity, split the atom, and walked on the moon. These greatly changed our universe of meaning. But humanity's relationship with the sacred has always remained the same. You enter a new mosque or church through a magnificent door, just like passing through the Lion Road. When you step inside, the ordinary world stays outside. You pass through layer upon layer of structures and go to the very heart of the temple. In a church, mosque, synagogue, or at Göbeklitepe, in Structure C. This point is where the insurmountable boundary between the sacred and the world begins. In fact, for centuries, no one has crossed to the other side of this boundary. For centuries, it has changed shape, manifested in different ways, but the existence of the sacred has always remained mysterious. Perhaps that's why its secret will never be fully solved. The origin of civilization. Göbekli Tepe made us rethink history from scratch and told a new story about the origin of civilization. The origin of civilization. The fundamental reason for settled life isn't the transition to agricultural production, but the birth of temples. In other words, humanity abandoned nomadic life not for the harvest in their fields, but to stay near their temples. Over time, cities were born around temples and human civilization rose on these cities. Everything didn't start with that handful of wheat. It started with Göbekli Tepe. For me, Göbekli Tepe's mystery has largely been solved, but there are still unanswered questions. For example, will Göbekli Tepe's history go back to the Ice Age, or will older temple sites be found in the region? Time will tell all this, but until then, the zero point of history is Göbekli Tepe. Don't forget to subscribe to Vexopia History and turn on notifications. Follow our channel for more historical documentaries.